Here's Elita.
All right, 6:07, we've got a dry sky overhead. Temperature-wise, we're starting off in the 70s and 80s. Drop-off time, it's going to feel muggy. No big surprise there. A few clouds, mostly dry this morning. But for pickup, maybe dodging a few scattered downpours. The latest on Future Track coming up.
Center with Elita this morning as we talk about, wait, did I see 101 somewhere on a map that you're about to show us?
Yes, this was yesterday, and I just asked you, I said, did you know this, the difference between Saturday and Sunday? And the face you made, you're like,
no. Nope. I have one of those personal fans that I literally carry in every purse, so.
Okay, I get it.
Saying.
Well, Saturday we had the storm, so it wasn't quite as toasty. You can see that the highs over the weekend. Friday and Saturday, we hit a high of 95, which fell just below normal or average. And then yesterday, with the winds so light, that drove up temperatures, and all that sunshine and the lack of rain, that drove temperatures up to 101. And so far for the month of August, we've managed to squeeze out 4 100-degree plus days. And this summer, we've had about 6, and it could be 7 if we manage to hit a high again of 100, which is what we're forecasting for today. And that before some showers and thunderstorms roll through. We've got about a 40% chance on Tuesday, 30% on Wednesday. But by the end of the week, a summer cool front moving in, and that's going to raise our storm chances. More on that with my 10-day. But here, a live look outside. A beautiful start to the morning. Official sunrise time this morning at 6:51. So we're a few minutes away from that happening, but it's going to be a beautiful start to the morning. A warm one with a temperature reading of 81 degrees, and surrounding areas also in the 70s and 80s. Maybe a little bit lower in the city of Katy and Sealy, starting off with 75 this morning, but by this afternoon, equally as hot, with temperatures getting close to hitting the century mark. And if you don't quite hit the century mark, those heat index values will. Heat index values yesterday topping out above 105 in many locations. In addition to tracking those temperatures today, we're also going to be closely monitoring the air quality sensors for unhealthy for sensitive groups. Right now, it's good to moderate air quality, but by this afternoon, unhealthy levels of ozone pollution is expected with the sunshine and the warmth and the light winds. But here's where the heat dome is currently, right over the Four Corners region. You'll notice a little weakness in the ridge where we've got a northeasterly breeze transporting eventually some clouds and perhaps even some wet weather. Some showers and thunderstorms will be on the increase. Not so much around 2 o'clock. So I think for the most part, if you've got early morning recess or early afternoon recess, looks to be a go. But if your recess is at 3 or 4 o'clock, or you've got some outdoor activities, outdoor practices at 6, 7 p.m., there is going to be a chance for some widely scattered downpours and thunderstorms to at least cancel or maybe hold off. You might see some delays in some of those practices. And notice by 9 p.m., Future Track is suggesting another one of these disturbances rolling through, coming in from the east side or the northeast side of town. And then as we head into the overnight hours, we are not done yet. First thing tomorrow morning, as we start the show at 4 a.m., could be tracking 13 alert radar for a few brief heavy downpours. These will be rolling through along the west side of town as we continue through that morning commute. And then as we head into the afternoon, it doesn't look like the coverage is going to be quite as high. It looks like a little bit more isolated west of Interstate 45. So Tuesday, still keeping that chance, as I mentioned, for some wet weather around 40%. Here's that summer cool front. That's going to be bringing us more showers, more thunderstorms, and as that frontal boundary ends up stalling out somewhere along southeast Texas, that is going to increase our chances of seeing some flooding around here. At least a level 1 out of 4 for both Thursday and into Friday. Most counties highlighted for that threat. Meanwhile, in the tropics, we continue to monitor Hurricane Erin, maximum sustained winds of 130 miles per hour. It is turning toward the north and west, eventually hugging and coming close to the coast here, but you can see it is moving toward the north and east. So for the most part, it's going to kind of thread that needle between the east coast and Bermuda. Right now, life-threatening rip currents as well as high surf, but you're not going to see a direct impact from this system as it continues to move away from the Bahamas. We're also monitoring a tropical wave this week. This is going to be one of those waves that we're going to be watching well into next week. Still too early to know whether or not it's going to have any impacts to the U.S., but if it does take on a name, the next name on the list would be Fernan. So as I mentioned, we've got showers and thunderstorms, a little bit more scattered in nature as that summer cool front arrives. A 60% chance for showers and storms. Those temperature readings eventually trending cooler for Friday and Saturday, and then heading into next week as those storm chances lower down to 20%. We'll find that those temperature readings should warm somewhere into the mid-90s, ladies.
All right, thank you so much, Elita.
Let's bring in Elita for the latest on Aaron and where it is now.
Yeah, here's the vantage point of the eye from our imagery, our satellite imagery. The center of circulation there, you can make it out. It's a classic looking tropical cyclone, a hurricane in this situation, a Category 4 storm. The latest advisory has winds of 130 miles per hour. It's movement toward the north and west, but you can see the outer bands are lashing the Turks and Caicos, still impacting portions of Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, and you can see the leading edge of some of those clouds also impacting islands around the Bahamas. We're talking, the central and southeastern parts of the Bahamas. Now, this system is going to continue to jog to the north, eventually making that turn to the north away from the eastern seaboard, but it has been trending a little bit further to the west, and as it does so, there's going to be some impacts here in the way of some surf, some dangerous surf and rip currents there, and then as a cold front comes in from the east coast, that's going to help push this system over the cooler waters here, the northern Atlantic. So by Friday morning, this will be down to a Category 2 hurricane, down to a Category 1 by Saturday morning as it continues to accelerate into the open waters there. Meanwhile, new tropical wave to watch. This one coming off the coast of Africa over the weekend. It now has a 50% chance for forming into a tropical depression or even a named storm. And based on some of our latest model data, this could happen as early as Friday. And at this point, when you look at some of the history of where storms form, it's going to be all about where it forms, whether or not it forms similar to Aaron, if it forms north of the Caribbean islands here, or if it forms further to the south, closer towards South America. The further south it forms, that's going to give it a better opportunity of moving into the Caribbean and perhaps even into the Gulf. So the further north it forms, it may take the same path as Aaron, where it stays mostly over water, doesn't impact land or direct impact land, but it's still a lot of uncertainty as to where this system is going to end up later on this week and even into early next week. We've got plenty of time to watch this. If it does gain a name, the next name on the list would be Fernan. All right, looking outside right now, we've got live pictures showing that we've got a mostly clear start to the morning. Sunshine today will allow temperature readings to warm. Those rain chances will be building, especially toward the latter part of the week. We've got a summer cool front on the way. I know, can you believe it? A nice cool front that may in fact push past the I-10 corridor, and if it does swing through, we are anticipating some showers and thunderstorms, some cooling downpours. That's going to send temperatures down into the lower 90s instead of the upper 90s or triple-digit temperatures. That's where we're going to find ourselves later on today. So right now we're starting off this morning with a mostly clear sky, and then some sunshine will eventually give way to some clouds, some widely scattered downpours a possibility. So keep the umbrella handy. You're not going to need it this morning, but that umbrella for sure later on today. And it does look like those chances for rain will continue for tomorrow, especially during the early part of your Tuesday. Temperatures in the mid to upper 70s to low 80s currently, and by this afternoon, some triple-digit heat can't be ruled out. Otherwise, some mid to upper 90s in some of our surrounding counties. Those chances for storms going up on Thursday and Friday, 60%, will send temperatures down into the low 90s for a couple of days, and then we'll revert back to a more typical summertime pattern. 20% chance for some wet weather with highs in the mid 90s, ladies.
Elita, thank you.